Whether you were the worst team in the NBA or looking to win a championship this season, every single team had some young player be a bright spot. And what I want to do in today's video is go into NBA 2K21 and figure out who was every single team's most improved player of the year. Some players are young, some players are a little older, but I have one rule: no rookies. I mean, it's kind of hard to say that you're the most improved player when no one knows how good you were going to be in the first place, so you can't really. Anyways, before this video starts, please be an OG, join the pack, and subscribe. That would be clutch and help me get to 300,000 subscribers. So, as we always do, I'm starting off with the Philadelphia 76ers. The player that we're going to talk about is actually Joel Embiid. He's 26 years old. He was an MVP candidate, and he is right now trying to win a championship. This man is on a mission. When you realize, hey, if you're really good in the post, you should score in the post a lot. A coach like Doc Rivers realized that, and that's why he's been so good this year, because he stopped shooting threes as much and now is focusing on scoring paint, right? So Joel Embiid +4 from a 91 to a 95, making him the most improved player for the Sixers, and rightfully so. For the Milwaukee Bucks, we have Bobby Portis +4 from a 77 to an 81. Bobby Portis was on the Knicks, had good games here and there, but on the Bucks, he's found a home. Just 25 years old, this Bucks team, what they desperately needed was depth. Drew Holiday was a big step forward, but what was even better was Bobby Portis, because coming off the bench, you have somebody that is an actual threat, and that is a big deal if they want to win a championship, and it is looking good so far for the Bucks, because they've been destroying the Heat. For the Chicago Bulls, you know, this team has been pretty rough this year. A lot of people had high expectations for them, and a lot of the young guys really didn't get better this season, but Thaddeus Young, the 32-year-old, came out of nowhere again. This man has been on a mission this season, was on a tear, and surprised everyone. He was a 76 overall at the start of the year. Now he's an 82, making him the highest rating he's ever had in his entire career at 32 years old. +6 for the man. Really big props. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, you would think it's Colin Sexton, but it's actually Darius Garland. Darius Garland is +8 from a 74 to an 82. He's one of the most improved players this season, and the reason being is that he is actually, last year, the worst defender rating-wise in the world. Now, even though he hasn't gotten better defensively, maybe a little bit, what he's really figured out is scoring. If he can't defend, he has to get buckets, and he's done that at a really high volume this year. The Cavs had a really good start to the year. Darius Garland was a big part of that. Really, really good. For the Boston Celtics, you know, I was thinking it wasn't going to be anybody, but it was actually Robert Williams. Now that Jaylen Brown is injured, they have him as the third best player on the Celtics right now. Robert Williams is only 22 years old, a center that they're going to have for a very long time. Not only is he extremely athletic, but he can rebound and defend like nobody else in the league. And on top of that, he's a really good fit for the team. +7 for the man from a 74 to an 81. Big ups for Robert Williams, and it's only going to get better from here. For the Los Angeles Clippers, it is Terrence Mann. Terrence Mann started the year out as a 71 overall, now as a 76 overall. +5 for the man. Anyways, yeah, he goes from a player that is basically never coming off the bench to a strong bench piece, and that is exactly what he would want as a 23-year-old, only getting better every season. Big upgrade for the Clippers, because they could use all the help they can get to try to win a championship. We have 2 for the Memphis Grizzlies, and the only team that has 2. We'll start off with Kyle Anderson, +6 from a 74 to an 81. I wish he was still on the Spurs, because this man was amazing on the Spurs, and he's just gotten even better with the Grizzlies. Big ups for Kyle Anderson. Mr. Slow-Mo has been fantastic this year, and so has Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen, there was big question marks about his career last season of whether or not he even belonged in the NBA. This man was amazing in college, but in the NBA it was kind of like but now he's had some big games, and then even in the playing game hit some big shots against the Spurs to get them into the playoffs. Grayson Allen has been essential for this team. From a 70 to a 76, huge upgrade for Grayson Allen for the year. For the Atlanta Hawks, we have Clint Capella, the fella, from an 82 to an 86 overall. If you just watched how they're playing this series against the Knicks, you would 100% understand why. Not only is he an amazing rebounder and defender in the post, but his pick and roll game with Trae Young is one of the best in the league, maybe the best in the league. Yeah, he's been that good in the pick and roll. He's been fantastic. The Rockets literally thought that he wasn't even belonging in the NBA anymore, and now the Hawks are using him, making him the second best player on a playoff team. For the Heat, you know, this team went to the finals last year, so it's kind of hard to get a lot of upgrades I mean, how are they going to upgrade, right? How are they going to do better than last season? And to be honest, they haven't. But Max Strus, who was a 68 overall at the start of the year, now is a 73 overall. Big upgrade from Max, and he's actually an important player to the team now. For the Hornets, a team that has been surprising everyone this year. I thought there would be a lot more upgrades, but there wasn't. The only player that had a massive upgrade was Jalen McDaniels, from a 70 to a 74. Again, from a bench sitter to a coming off the bench kind of player. Really, really good coming off the second unit. 22 years old. This Hornets team has a lot of young talent, and hopefully they're all going to get better next season. For the Utah Jazz, we have a return man, Mike Conley, from a 79 overall to an 84 +5. Mike Conley was an 84 before he got to the Jazz. He dropped really hard, but now he's playing very well for the Jazz, and they need him to play well if they want to win a championship, because this team has a bunch of defenders like Mike Conley, like Joe Ingles, and they're going to need them to play as good as they are. For the Kings, it's been pretty disappointing for the Kings so far, but Richaun Holmes has been a bright spot, from a 78 to an 82, making him the second best player on the Sacramento Kings. Nobody would have thought that coming into the year, when you had Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley, Hassan Whiteside, Buddy Hield, even DeLon Wright, we all would have thought would have been better than Richaun Holmes this season. We were wrong. For the Knicks, it's pretty obvious it's Julius Randle +9, from literally a question mark of why did we pay him this much money last season to an MVP candidate is a huge deal. Not only that, RJ Barry gets a +8. Just wanted to mention him. They both get massive upgrades. This team has got a massive upgrade in general. For the Los Angeles Lakers, it was actually going to be pretty hard to find somebody. The only person I found that even got an upgrade in general was THT. He is +3 for the team, from a 72 to a 75, and THT is no joke. He is a bucket getter at just 19 years old. This man actually gets really confident when he takes the ball to the basket and can even shoot here and there. Not a bad player at all, and can play defense. A huge grab for the Lakers, and he could be a future piece really soon. For the Orlando Magic, Wendell Carter Jr. from a 79 to an 82. Listen, this team has nobody else that got massive upgrades besides Wendell, and Wendell didn't even start the year with the team. That's because the Magic completely blew up this team and hoping that they're going to get better in time. We shall see what happens with the Orlando Magic, but Wendell's 21, 82 overall. It can only get better from here. For the Dallas Mavericks, it's Jalen Brunson +3. I would have thought this team had more upgrades, but no, Jalen Brunson is really the only one that got a pretty massive upgrade. He's been fantastic. I think, in my opinion, easy third best player on this team. Like, not only can he score like Tim Hardaway Jr., but he can also defend very well. I think it's pretty blatantly clear he's the third best player. For the Brooklyn Nets, it is Bruce Brown +4. Bruce Brown is a gift from heaven for the Nets. This team's #1 problem with this superstar lineup was that how are they going to play defense? And Bruce Brown has answered that prayer. It is a miracle, but he is on the team, ready to step up, 23 years old, and is only going to be getting better. And I guarantee you, if they win a championship this season, Bruce Brown's going to be a big part of it. For the Denver Nuggets, it's obviously the MVP, Jokic, from a 90 to a 96 overall, leading his team in literally every statistical category. It is insanity, but this man is amazing, and he deserves every second of the praise. For the Indiana Pacers, the most obvious one that I didn't even know about was O'Shea Brissett. O'Shea was a 67 overall at the start of the season. Now he's a 76 overall. The man doesn't even have a face scan. That's how much of a surprise he's been this season. 22 years old. The Pacers got another one with him, and it is a big deal. For the Pelicans, it is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He is a 76 overall at the start of the year as a 71 overall, so +5 for the man. 21 years old, a lot of young talent on the Pelicans, and I mean, they gotta make the playoffs next season because they got so much, and Nickeil is a big part of that. Now, for the Detroit Pistons, I could have said literally anybody on this team because they all got like +6, but Jeremy Grant is the most important one. From a 77 to an 83, a borderline all-star. I don't care how bad this team was. Jeremy Grant every night was dropping 20, and it didn't matter. This man believed he could do more, and that's why he left the Nuggets by choice to go to the Pistons, and he is getting buckets, and hopefully this team can figure it out soon so Jeremy Grant can't waste his prime. For the Toronto Raptors, Khem Birch. Khem Birch starts off as a 72 overall, now is a 77. For a team that has been struggling this season, because, I mean, we're surprised that they got second seed last season, and this season they couldn't really do anything. Khem Birch has been a slow bright spot. entering his prime because he's 27 years old, has found a home with Toronto. Now, for the Houston Rockets, Christian Wood is the most obvious, from an 80 overall to an 84. This man was obviously an 84 overall at the start of the year, but 2K was just kind of late to the party. This dude was dropping 20 points a game at the latter end of his career with the Pistons, so it was only obvious he was going to continue it with the Rockets, and so he did. And this rating could be probably even higher if he was healthy all season. For the San Antonio Spurs, a kind of a shock to me, and I watched a lot of Spurs games this year. Drew Eubanks +8 from a 68 to a 76. To be fair, are they wrong? His bubble play was really impressive, and it continued this season, making him the backup center for the team. He has been very important for the Spurs, and hopefully he'll get even better in time. At the Phoenix Suns, we have Mikal Bridges. If you watched how he played against his Lakers in the first game of the playoffs, you wouldn't be shocked at all that he's on this list. Man got a +6 from a 77 to an 83. He has been fantastic for this team. A gift, because everyone knew that Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton were good, but they were like, what about the rest of the team? And Bridges has answered the call. Really good. For the Thunder, it is Moses Brown, the most improved player on this list. He was a 67 at the start of the year, and now is a 78 overall, +11 for the man. If you've seen him play, I was gambling a little bit in Vegas, doing some parlays, and Moses Brown destroyed my dreams because I didn't know about him, and he destroyed. I don't even remember what team it was, but I just remember watching Moses Brown get bucket after bucket. This man is 7'2", pretty big, and can honestly run like a guard. He's amazing, and he's only 20, and I think the Thunder got a really nice center with him. Okay, so for the Minnesota Timberwolves, we have Naz Reid, +5 from a 72 to a 77. Last year he was averaging 9. I think this season he's averaging like 15. Really good for the Timberwolves. I mean, and a defender. This team has so much talent that's young. They gotta be good next year. For the Portland Trail Blazers, it's obvious that it is Anfernee Simons, from a 72 to a 76, +4 for the man. It's obvious. This is one of the fastest players in the NBA. He's 21 and can get a bucket whenever he wants. He's really good. For the Golden State Warriors, it's actually Juan Toscano Anderson. He was a 69 overall, now is a 75 overall. And he's in his prime at 27 years old, found a home with the Warriors, and I'm really happy he's on this team. The only Mexican in the NBA, and I respect that man. And finally, for the Wizards, it is Daniel Gafford, 75 to 76. He started the season off with the Bulls, and they traded him, and that was a mistake because Daniel Gafford is different. He's only 21, and this guy can get buckets. I mean, really great pickup for the Wizards for the future. That is everybody on this list. Do you agree with 2K? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like this channel, please give it a sub. And I'll see you guys next time.